Adam, very good morning to you. So how would you assess UK businesses' readiness to reopen, given your survey findings? And I note that a large proportion of your survey comes from businesses in the services sector, which I often feel gets left out a little in these conversations.
No, that's absolutely right. I think businesses are partially ready to reopen, but not completely ready to reopen. The good news is that the vast majority of them know about the UK government's guidance on reopening and safe working in the workplace. That's a positive. Very often government guidance documents are not things that businesses read in great detail, but in this particular case they have, which is positive. But only a small proportion of them do feel that they're able to fully restart their operations under these rules. So many businesses are trying to feel their way through and understand just how much of their operations they can bring back on stream.
I wonder why you think they don't want to go back to work. Is it because of the regulations, or is it because of a fear of the coronavirus?
Well, I think employers feel that their absolute priority is to keep their people safe in the workplace. So ensuring that they have all of the processes, procedures, and equipment in place necessary to make sure that's the case is the number one priority. There are some other issues at play here as well. Of course, public transport and access to workplaces is a big issue when systems can only operate at 10 to 15% of their normal capacity. Childcare and school reopenings are also very important too, because so much of the working population is parents with children of primary school age. So these are all important factors that all contribute to employers' ability to reopen in full. And then, of course, there are a number of sectors such as hospitality, tourism, and non-essential retail that have to wait a bit longer because they haven't been permitted to reopen yet either.
When we last talked, Adam, you mentioned changes you wanted to see to the furlough scheme to avoid a sort of cliff edge for UK businesses that were relying on that. And hey presto, after we spoke, that is indeed what you saw. So what changes still need to happen to the furlough scheme, or how do you want it to be managed out of existence?
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the government as a whole are listening very carefully to chambers of commerce and to our business communities on this, because they know how sensitive it will be to unwind the furlough scheme carefully to prevent large numbers of redundancies, which I think is the common goal of both businesses and governments alike. Our poll results are showing 70% of firms responding are using the furlough scheme in some way. That's an absolutely enormous number. But what are they telling us? They're saying, well, it needs to be made more flexible. They need to be able to bring people back perhaps 1, 2, or 3 days a week and pay them for that time, and see if the government might be willing to top up the remainder of furlough pay for a period of time to ease business cash flow. Many of them also say they need that flexibility to come as soon as possible, which is a big logistical challenge, of course, for the revenue here in the UK that has to design a system to make it happen. But there is a really strong sense that the furlough scheme has been the big